Hello, everybody from around the world. Welcome, welcome. This is Samson coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Oh my gosh, look, we have an amazing guest tonight. Please welcome Mark Macdonald. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing awesome, Samson. I love that you're in LA. You know, I'm a California boy. And hello, everyone around the world. I got all excited watching the video and the chat.
Well, look, everybody around the world, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We are fortunate to have with us today, online, broadcasting globally on this webcast, one of the most amazing human beings I know, somebody who is so successful, but yet so hard-driven. It's about people first, but his success, everybody know he's on CNN, Dr. Oz, Headline News. He's a celebrity nutritionist and fitness expert. Last time, I know he, a few trips before, I know he was in LA and he was coaching some of those Hollywood movie stars, folks. I mean, he is one of my best buds that I know. Very fortunate to meet him about 4 years ago now, Mark? Is that right?
Yeah, 4 years ago, Samson, and it all started, our vision together started in Berlin, and everyone we're in Berlin, and I was going to breakfast, just partnering with Janess, and Samson, in his cool gear, because he's the best dresser that I've ever known, comes up and says, hey, you know what, are you eating with anyone? And we ate breakfast together, and our friendship and our bromance began that day. And from now on, we've been our best breakfast buddies. And I just want to share, it's an honor to be on this, on your coaching call. Everyone, Samson's one of my greatest friends. He's one of my greatest mentors. I learned so much, and it's an honor for you to show up tonight and hoping that we can give some wisdom and we can have some great conversation.
Oh, no, this is going to be like co-creation, okay? Okay, so tonight, tonight we're doing something very different than our normal, session at this time. Normally we have some kind of training, very focused, but I think, tonight I want to share, I was talking to Mark earlier, I want to share something else that's, beyond, because, our careers, our business is only one part of our many facets of life. So tonight, we want a very candid conversation with Mark, and, and I put it that way because success, what we know of success is that, people only see the glamour. They never see the story behind the success. So today is the opportunity to talk with one of the most authentic people I know in my life, that is a straight shooter. That's why we get along, because we can talk about all kinds of stuff. But somebody, he's not necessarily tonight to promote Zen. But that's what he does anyway. But tonight we're just going to talk about life, health, money, and success. Is that good? Give me a 10 on the chat, folks.
Type in.
If you agree with that, if you're excited about that, okay? So this is something we're going to talk about stuff that potentially you're never going to hear on stage, because stage time is limited. That's just a little extra, the sprinkle around the sizzle. The real heart of it is in the yolk right here tonight. So, well, anyway, thanks, Mark, for just being here and taking your time. I know, especially, you already, I know in Janess was already doing so many webinars, and even especially now with what's happening, the lockdown around the world, it's been nuts, hasn't it? It's just been nuts. You've been doing even more webinars.
Yeah, we're doing so many Zooms around the world, and obviously media, I'm doing a lot of Skypes. But it's been, people are, what's cool is people are more awake about their health. So there's a hunger. There's some people that are kind of regressing, but it's awakening. And that's what we were talking about earlier today, Samson, and everyone, with tragedy, with challenges, it's the ability to see what's next. It's the ability to fight through, to persevere, to find your strength, to see the light whenever there's dark there, and create some solutions. And that's why it's an honor to be on the night, because when Sam, I do so much health, and every media interview is about health, but I want everyone to know I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 15 years old. I had one job. I was at Long's Drugs. and I didn't show up enough on time because I hated being an employee, and I got fired, and that was my only job of my entire life. And from then on, I really focused on how could I carve my own path? How could I make a difference? So it's awesome to be on to talk about business and life and challenges and also health.
Yeah. Well, so folks, before we got on the air, we're just talking what we're going to talk about. It's going to be a flow tonight. Whatever flows out, flow. Okay. But I know I can do that with Mark because he's not only the health professional, I think he's a media professional. so Mark, let's many people know you from stage, okay, but I want to get to know you even more. So no, maybe you can tell us where you're originally from. A lot of people don't know, and then how you grew up, and then from there.
And I think if everyone, as Samson and I talked tonight, and I'm just going to type in, Samson, I'm going to say story. And I just want everyone to type in story. Because to me, it's about the story. It's about the journey. And as we do this and we are talking, as I share my story, I really want you to think about your story. I know that's what Samson teaches so much about the heart, the authenticity. For me, there's probably two moments that really defined who I am. I grew up in California and Bay Area. My mom was a chronic dieter. And my dad struggled with digestion. And so I saw two huge health challenges. But for me, it was a few things happened to me when I was 7. I couldn't speak growing up. I couldn't form words. And I was going to be held back going into 2nd grade. And for me at that moment, there was only a few people who could understand me in the world that I could communicate with. And not moving forward in school was not acceptable for me. So I cried to my parents. I said, I'll do anything. And at that time, my dad painted a big 1% on my wall. And he said, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be hard moments, but you can get there 1% at a time. And for me, for the next 4 years, I focused 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, working on my speech, working with the best speech therapists. And there were moments where I wanted to quit. There were challenges, there were frustrations. But by the time I got to 5th grade, I could form words. People could understand me. Also, when I was 7, I walked into my mom and she was crying on the bed. And she looked up and I said, Mom, what's the matter? And she said, I failed again. And I watched my mom lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. I saw her be excited about a diet, starve herself, cut her calories, get a result. Then life would push back. She'd gain it all back. And she felt like a failure. My mom is a registered nurse. She's retired now, but she had knowledge. She had education. She didn't fail. The industry failed her. So what I learned at that moment is that I felt like anything was possible and that there were problems, there were things, solutions I didn't understand. And I started this journey of understanding that I could fight for anything with that 1% mindset, and that as a health, understanding my body became my number one focus, basically from 7 on, now since I'm 47.
Wow, that's very interesting. I want to ask you a couple questions because a little bit, because nobody ever gets to ask you questions when you're on stage, right? So let me ask you. I want to ask you about the 1%. Now, of course, it's amazing that your dad can, share this little nugget with you. And because obviously the speech impediment, that is an issue. But as a 7-year-old, my question is, did you have awareness that it was such an issue that you really need to focus on that 1%? Or how did you take it that seriously to conquer that?
I think, and it's a great question. I want everyone to kind of think about their breaking point in life. We all have them. There's moments in life where you hit a point where you say, I can't do it anymore. Mine was as a 7-year-old. I remember I was asking for a banana and I couldn't form the words banana, but in my mind, I was saying it, but my tongue could not pronounce it and no one could understand me. The fear of feeling behind, made fun of, was so hard on me when I was 7. Like I can remember it like yesterday. And I was willing to do anything to learn how to speak. So because of that moment, the 1% stuck with me. You know, and the other thing is, you know, I had a full soccer scholarship. Samson and I both went to Cal State Northridge. I played it. We both went, that's our alma mater. But when I was 7, I had asthma and I couldn't play sports. I was the worst soccer player on the field. And I became a goalkeeper because I couldn't do anything. There weren't the asthma medications. But I used that philosophy basically from 7 on, because I was kind of like the last kid picked. I was the person who wasn't excelling in school. And I used that as motivation and drive when I maybe felt that I didn't believe in myself, because my parents believed in me, because they instilled that in me. I owned it at that time. So the awareness for me was there. And I think as everyone's watching right now, you have to hold on to that one thing that can fuel you, that can drive you, that can provide that fire to fight for something that you love, that you want. And, you know, it doesn't mean it happens to you at 7. It may not happen to you at 10, but there's a moment in your life where you can go one way or the other way. And if you can hold on to that and you can fight for it, you can achieve anything you want.
Wow, that's powerful. That's a great way to articulate it. It is sometimes about those moments, isn't it? And I remember when, you know, I got out of the furniture business, I lost a lot of money. I went searching for what I did wrong or where I could go from there. I mean, it was disappointing, but at the same time, it was freedom that I don't have to deal with all that headache anymore. And I just came to the point where, when I look back, what were the moments that I could have done better, that I could have changed? As a matter of fact, it was that moment, just thinking about the life I want, that I went into a different direction. And you're right, those moments. But what's amazing is that, you know, where did that fighting spirit come from? It's not like, obviously, it's a physical challenge, and I cannot even comprehend that, you know? I've been injured before, and how frustrating it was being in a cast. It could not walk. But I mean, just something that it helped you to create really that amazing, I would say it's like tenacity to get things done, to overcome. That's very powerful.
You know, and I think, and everyone as you're watching, you want to, you know, this, as Samson and I are talking, my invitation is to really take this information and apply it. What are the trigger points for you? Because we all have it. You know, when I look at my life, I think of the moments, and I've made tons of mistakes, multiple challenges, but I think about the moments and in my defining moments. You know, as I watched my mom struggle, I really was searching for an answer. I got heavy into sports. I couldn't find an answer. I'm a nutritionist. I'm a formally trained nutritionist, kinesiologist, and I still didn't understand food. As a soccer player, I was eating tons of carbs. I was eating tons of food, and I was training about 5 hours a day. And I was staying super lean because I was training so much. And the moment I stopped playing soccer, I put on 60 pounds in 6 months. And it was like, what is going on? And I felt like I understood my mom at that point, because I didn't really understand food, even though I was formally trained. So how can people who don't understand food know what to do? So what did I do? I went on a ketogenic diet in the mid-90s. I cut my calories, cut my carbs, lived as a fitness model for the next couple years, looking amazing and feeling horrible. And then that's when I realized there should have been a better way. And that's when I started teaching blood sugar balance. But as an entrepreneur, I want everyone to know, like, there's moments like when I finished soccer and I started working in a gym, my parents, right at that time, I had a really great life, and my parents filed bankruptcy. My dad had some severe health challenges. My soccer scholarship was over, and I was broke, and my wife Abby was broke. And I remember we met in school, the love of my life. I met her my 3rd year at Northridge, and she had no money. I didn't have any money. And we had to pay our first month of rent with a Discover check. And then I started building momentum in a gym, teaching people about food. And it wasn't like I had all the answers, but that tenacity that I learned when I was 7, I started focusing on.
So when you were started to really work, so you were a trainer at the gym? Or how does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, right. So this is the story is I met Abby. She was on exchange from Delaware. She had enough money to finish school. I had a soccer scholarship, and like I didn't have financial awareness growing up. Like we were middle class. It's not like we had a huge life, but I didn't really think about money. and I had my school was paid for, my dorm was paid for, my room was full ride. And then right when I graduated, my parents, they filed bankruptcy. They had no money, and Abby had no money. So right from then I had to stop playing soccer because there was no money to go pro. Like I was playing semi-pro at the time. There was no pro league. You can there was no MLS at this time. We're talking 1996. So right then Gold's Gym Northridge, I went there, and I'm a nutritionist kinesiologist, and I created my own spot at the gym, and I started coaching clients, and I started running the gym. And then over those 4 years, I built that up to then have an opportunity to form Venice Nutrition and buy our nutrition center right next to Gold's Venice.
Wow. So that's quite a journey. I think because you're getting into something that you haven't done before, right? As a coach, right? As coaching people. And then how did you know what to do? Did somebody guide you, or how did you learn that business?
I want everyone to type in passion. Like if you're watching right now, just type in the word passion and then type in vision. It's passion and vision for me. I love the body. Yeah, so we talk, Abby and Hunter, and as if you don't know me, I met my wife in 1993. She's my foundation. We've been together for 26 years. My love of my life. She is my everything. And we have an incredible 15-year-old son, Hunter, and we have a 4-year-old baby girl named Hope that's almost 5. And they always make fun of me because I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but I know a lot about a few things. And the body to me is my passion, and entrepreneurship is my passion. So I created my own path from that perspective. And then I learn. I'm a sponge, just like with you, Samson. So like where you're watching right now, if you have passion, if you have vision, if you have tenacity, if you have the right, we talked about the mindset and the skill set. If you have the mindset to learn, to hustle, to ask questions, I will ask everything, and I will learn everything from that perspective if I really want to know. And then I will find out. So I learned how to run sales at a gym. I learned how to do point of sale. I learned the power of EFT, which is auto ship in the direct selling world, but that monthly recurring revenue that you had your cash flow, you had your EFT. And I really focused on 4 years. And what happened is I was making about $2,000 a month right when when I started. And then but after 4 years, we were doing about $10,000-12,000 a month. And then I had the opportunity to buy the Venice Center in 1999, right next to Gold's Venice, mecca of bodybuilding. But Abby and I had to invest everything to buy that. So we started really with no money again. And that was right at that point where I made a deal with Gold's Gym. I had all the new memberships at that time. They were probably getting about 200 new members a day. And every single day for literally about 80 hours a week for a straight year, I was calling people, hey, Mark Macdonald here with Venice Nutrition right next to Gold's Gym Venice. With your membership, you get a complimentary assessment. When would you like to come in? And I did assessment after assessment after assessment. Wow. And then what we did is with that past year, we built that, and then we expanded to 6 nutrition centers over the next 4 years.
Wow. For those of you out there, did you pick up all the nuggets? Type in, ask questions. Powerful tip. Second, obviously.
Ask questions and learn. I learned sales from incredible, one of my greatest mentors was someone who came to learn how to build an EFT for the gym. And I just sat with him and sat with him and sat with him and learned. And I think that would be my invitation. When you have the passion, when you have the vision, when you have the tenacity, you then have to find your mentors, and you ask and you ask and you ask, and you hear everything and you listen to everything, and then you sort what sits with you.
Type in mentor. Okay, amazing point. Okay, that's very good, because obviously, I mean, a lot of people like me, when I was younger, I just did it by myself. Like I didn't know any better to ask any questions. It took me from 1989, when I was still at Northridge, getting into real estate as a real estate agent. I graduated in, I think, 93, become a broker. I got out of that 2 years later. Then I went to the furniture business with a friend of mine. He knew, but I knew less, a lot less, but I know how to talk to people. 10 years later, made money, lost money because I did not go out to ask questions or have a mentor. I lost money. So just contrast, because I mean, maybe, between me and you, like the old me, and it's still part of me. But compared to you, you really went out there and led with your passion. But your passion fed, gave you the energy, the creativity to really, and of course the necessity to drive towards success, to create a living and to create a fortune. I don't know if did you ever phrase it as a fortune rather than a living at that time? Did you work hard to make a living, or did you think you had the vision to make it huge at that time?
You know, I always just knew. So to me, and this is probably, there's always different types of entrepreneurs. Samson, I'm a heart-driven guy. So I live my life unattached to the outcome. So I'm never attached to what will come from it, but I'm always focused on leading with the heart and leading with the passion. And if I can lead with that, it always comes. I never have a hard time asking for the sale. I have a great relationship with money, because I believe if you have great value and you provide great value, then this is part of capitalism. That's part of being an entrepreneur. But it's never about the money for me. I know we say that, but that's the question you always got to ask yourself. And there's not a right or wrong to it. It can always be about the money. I know many of my friends who are great entrepreneurs, and it is about the money for them. And that's cool. For me as an entrepreneur, it's never been about the money. It's always been about making the difference in the people's lives. But I'm also not afraid about the money. And that's sometimes health pros, with all the health pros we worked with through the years, they get afraid to learn about the money. So you can never be scared of money, but how you lead with your heart, or maybe you lead with your mind, it depends on the person.
That's a very interesting point. Scared of having money. That's very interesting, because, you know, as I travel the world, I meet a lot of people. And that is the question. Are you allergic to money? And you're saying, literally, are you scared to make money? That's very interesting, because, you know, in psychology, obviously, you know, we learn a lot from our parents or from the influences that are around us. And sometimes we're sold a bag of goods that has no relevance to where we are today. You know, follow the rules. Maybe you could do better not following the rules, right? Or maybe where, you know, maybe your parents, maybe one of them made all the money, the other parent didn't make the money. So, but you end up copying the parent that didn't make the money and just wait for a handout. I don't know, but whatever it is, right? Or maybe like when I asked my mom, and I can just say that because, you know, she's older, she's retired. She has to go through the process of paying her taxes and all that. And, you know, I mean, she helps me out, you know, I give her a little salary, but she's worried about how much taxes to pay. But the point was, the more you make, if you don't make money, then you don't pay taxes. If you make money, of course you pay taxes. But it's just the hassle of paying taxes seemed to be a lot of trouble to having more money. What you were saying? You were going to say?
Yeah, 100%. And I also think about what you taught me and what I learned in 2003 about the different types of money. I think that's where a lot of times where it's a relationship with money, but it's also the different type. I have a lot of passion, and that's the question I'd ask everyone right now. Samson has a lot of passion, but he's so smart with how he diversifies. So right now, I want you, lesson that I can share is I learned in 2003, this is what happened to me. We lived in, and if you're familiar with California, we were in Venice Beach, and we had a house in Valencia, California, which is about 20 miles. But as you know, with LA traffic on the 405, we're talking 2 hours. I would have to get up at 4 in the morning. I would then go, I'd get my workout in around 6:30. I would see clients from about 7:15 to 3. I'd have to leave right at 3 to make it home. And that started to wear on me. We had 6 nutrition practices. We were doing great with cash flow. I think about what happened now with the coronavirus and all the health facilities being shut down. The challenge we would be in at this moment if we just had nutrition practices. And what I realized is Abby and I, we were talking, and this was 2003, and we wanted to have a baby. And and I was working literally 16 hours to 17 hours a day. So what type of dad did I want to be? Was I just going to be a 2-day off dad? Or could I be a dad that I really wanted? The dad that I grew up with, that was with me all the time. And that's when I realized the 3 types of money. And I'd like everyone to write this down. So you always think about So you have cash flow for your time. So kind of put cash flow, so put time, and then you have cash flow for duplicating yourself, and then you have residual revenue. So let's do this. I want you to write time slash duplicate slash reoccurring or residual. To me, those are the three types of money. So what I was doing is I was selling my time. Our practices were doing fantastic. And Samson, you know this, being the furniture store, you're only as good as that, you know, come the first of the month, you got to sell all over again. You got to cover your rent, your electricity, salaries, all of those things. So what I did is I duplicated myself. I created certification. I created our own medical board. We created our own nutrition certification. It became the #1 nutrition certification in the United States. And we started duplicating by teaching people. I launched virtual aspects. We brought on programmers. We had our own studios. We do videos, write manuals. And we created something called the Coaches Network. So we created a duplicational model and a licensing model, not a franchising, but a licensing model. So we focused on health pros, licensing. And then in 2006, we created a virtual online experience. That led to my first book, Body Confidence, that came out in 2011. That led to Monavie seeing me on Dr. Oz, the founder of Monavie, Dan Larson, which brought me into the networking world. And that's kind of brought me into, from the point of, I had cash flow for time. I created residual. I created duplication by doing digital offerings. And then the residual revenue came from memberships, registration fees, and then obviously partnerships with companies for products.
Wow. That's a lot of models that you created, a lot of platforms. Folks, for those of you out there, you know, Mark had to create all those platforms himself. You know, where we are in our business, right? Where we are in our business, you know, we have a platform that can result in, well, I like to say leverage, and, you know, some people say residual, but, you know, it is a platform where we can create, I would like to say sometimes, you know, once you build it the right way, you can kind of have semi-passive income. You know, you put the work in ahead.
I would never do it again, Samson. Abby and I talk about it all the time. We would never do it again. It didn't exist. I mean, you know, back in 2003, we didn't even have real Facebook yet. There was like, it's like so much was new. So like when I see what like, that's why I love the partnership with Janess, because so much is just there for you. It's a platform that you can do this. You can sell your time, but you can quickly duplicate it, and you can create residual revenue, and you can diversify the model across the board.
That's right. That's right. So our business model, it is a shortcut, not a shortcut. It's just a whole new animal. After all this, I mean, folks out there, look, if you're not clear on what we're talking about, you got to ask the question. Find your sponsor, find your leader, get this question answered, because it is a platform where, for me, I could never have made, passive income through my furniture business. You know, I always have to operate it. And the bigger the traditional business get, the less time you have. But here, because there's a system, that's what we can duplicate easier and have the opportunity on our platform to be borderless, right? Global. So, that I'm glad that Mark, came on board with us. Plus, his entrepreneur energy and spirit and passion, it really inspired me. Because I think, like, when I was 40 years old, starting Janess, I was exactly 40. I was thinking, I was still working paycheck to paycheck as an auctioneer. Maybe, the first 40 years of my life didn't really give me what I wanted. I didn't learn anything that was useful. Maybe just points here and there, but through reflection, I grab a little bit of the wisdom. I say, you know what? If Kim is in, I'm in. She has the perspective of a multimillionaire. I'm just like a very normal guy. And through that trust and just working it, whatever she say, I say, whatever she do, I do. Okay, let me learn that way first by modeling. And then I realized, oh, it is a system. I just need to plug myself in. And I think maybe, we were talking about earlier, one thing about, what we do and what we, how we operate the business in Janess. You got to have the mindset to operate the skill set. Because even if you learn all the skills, without the mindset, you're not going to get the result you want. So, because in traditional business, like in your journey, Mark, you literally had to go step by step. I mean, it took you, how many years? How many years has it been in your business?
I mean, since 1996, it was obsession. You know, I have a mind that can be a great ally, and I have a mind that cannot be a great ally. And that's why Abby's been amazing for me, because she brings balance to me. Yeah. But when you're building it, and I think based on what you said, I think everyone, if you could write down partnership, because that's probably the greatest thing that I've learned, is that you don't want to do it alone. You need your corner people. You need your partners. When Kim came to you, she was a partner for you. Janesse is a partner to you. When I partnered with Monavie, they were an incredible partner. My book publisher, HarperCollins, CNN, Dr. Oz, these are great partnerships where I didn't feel like it was all on my shoulder. And then when Janesse bought Monavie, and I met with Wendy and Scott, and we sat in that room, and, you know, I was pretty much at that point, I was kind of done because I felt like I don't want to do a whole nother adventure. I wasn't open to that, but I fell in love with Wendy. I fell in love with Scott. And then because of that, the difference we've made the past 4 years with our movement of Zen around the world, so much that you've helped with, Samson, has been incredible. So like, you have to be open to the idea of the partnership and see how that can happen with that. And I would never want to do it alone again. I would never want anyone to do it alone. And I think that's the power of, if you can take one thing away from this, is realize that you need to lock arms with people that are like-minded, that have the similar priorities that you, that see life the same way, and that you empower one another to reach for your dreams, and you cheer each other on, you support each other, and then when you fall down, you bring them back up.
You got to have community. So
all about community.
That's important. You got to have the right people around you. And you know, as I remember somebody once asked Kim, you know, how did you find all the people, the people around you to start Janesse? And her answer was, well, how many people you think she went through? Hundreds and thousands of people over her career in our industry to find a few people that can resonate together and create something special. I guess, you know, in a sense, that's what life is. You know, for you, I hear like, you got to be open to receive. You got to be open. You know, you got to be open to embrace other people, and that's what makes you so successful, because you were open. Because people come to you, all kinds of people come to you, but do they align with you, right? Are they like you, right? I mean, can you be comfortable? Do you trust them? So, you know, to assess any risk, you got to know what you're getting into. Or see, because for me, what I realized in business is not the money. It's the people that make the money, that make the idea, that make the business model, that create the platform, that has that creates the inspiration, that creates the passion, the drive, etc. So let me ask you. So since you are so obsessive about the body, you were saying, okay, and you know what that remind me of, that picture of you that you have posted somewhere when you were like a fitness model. I say, wow.
Yes.
Wow. I was like, oh my God, you know? Okay. Okay. You don't have to turn red, but no, it's an amazing picture. So, you know, as we get older, I'm 51 this year. Okay. So I'm like, I got to get back in shape before it's too late. As we get older, it's harder to get in shape. So what can you say to the health and fitness is very important. Maybe you can share some thoughts about what's happening now with the virus, because I think what's happening now is really changing the world. Okay. And in terms of health, how can we conquer this thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Samson and I, we talked about that in 3 weeks. I'm going to do a live stream with all of Microsoft, talking to entrepreneurs about the same exact topic. So this is a three week early session here. Okay. My feedback would be this, you know, I want everyone to think about your health chapters in life, and you can write that down, health chapter. So imagine when you were a teenager, and you know, you can do anything. You can exercise, you don't have a lot of stress. then you move into college, you're a little more free. You might eat a little bit more, or you enter the workforce, life starts changing. You can't have the same activity. You then get in a relationship. You then have kids. And what slowly happens is your metabolism begins to slow down. And it's because your chapter of your life is changing, but you're not evolving your health with it. You know, right now, when we talk about the COVID-19, the good news about it, and there's really no good news, but the light on it, because I always believe there's light to something, is that it shows why our health matters daily. So if there's one takeaway from this is that if you've been unhealthy right now, that you waited too long, and you can never wait too long again. So you have to start with that 1% mindset. You need to start focusing on what can you do. And there's 6 components. There's your sleep, there's your food, there's your exercise, there's your supplements, there's your water, and there's your stress management. And my first piece of advice would be is to define where you are and where your goals are, and then ask yourself the reason behind it. My father died 4 years ago, right after we launched Zen with Janess. And I carry a photo on my desk. It's right over there. It's one of him when he was 47 and I was 15. And right next to it, I carry a picture of my son and myself, who's 15 and I'm 47 now. And we're at Disney World and we have our lightsabers. I carry that because that was really the last year of my dad being healthy. And then for the next 25 years, I saw him become unhealthier every single year. And I really kind of had 2 fathers. I had a father for my first 15 years and then beyond. And I look at this picture daily, both of them, to remind me of why I fight for my health. You know, Samson talks about when I was a fitness model. It's not, I'm always lean, I'm always going to be healthy, but I'm not living for the externals, kind of like not living for the money. If you do the right work, the body comes. If you do the right work with your business, the money comes. So with your health, you got to get clear on why you're fighting for it. It's not 28 days. It's not 8 weeks. It's not 90 days. It's for your life. What's the purpose behind it? And once you get that, and that's when Samson talks about the mindset. Once you shift your mindset and you accept that, and you say, I'm going to get there 1% at a time. You get your reason, you get your 1%. You now can develop the skill set. And the skill set's going to be, how are you eating your food? How are you sleeping? How are you exercising? How are you taking your supplements to fill in your nutritional gaps? How's your water intake? What's your stress like? And now the journey becomes. And this is how you're going to transform your body. This is how you transform your family's body. And this is how you inspire your kids. And this is how you change cultures and your community.
Wow, that's a powerful section right there. I'm gonna have to cut it up and put it on Facebook or something. Okay. Yeah, it was good. It was right to the point, you know. And it is such a good way to summarize it. You know, for those of you out there, you know, if health matters to you, put yes in the chat. Okay, a big yes. Okay, so there's nothing like it nowadays. All right.
And hold on, Samson. If it doesn't matter to you, then you need to ask yourself why. Because I just want to be clear where we are right now. I went to Costco today, and you know, people are scared, and people are scared of getting sick, and people are scared. And you know, it doesn't matter. You can live the healthiest life, and you can still get the COVID-19. So I don't want you to think like you're immune to all of that. But what I will assure you is this: if you have a strong body, if you're taking care of yourself daily, you have the best chance to beat anything thrown at you. But if you don't have a strong body, then things out there can attack you. So this is why your health matters daily, not next week, not the week after, but now.
So how about, can you say something for the people that do have some health conditions? Maybe give them a little encouragement. What would you say to them?
Yeah, you know, so you know, I have asthma, so I'm a high risk. I've had horrible asthma my whole life. So I'm on that. My wife has autoimmune challenges, but we live a healthy life. So if you're blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, the first thing you need to do is you need to get clear on your reason and start acting on your health now. I saw a study that's showing that. And it's not a great study, that soft drinks, potato chips, all of the bad food stocks are rising because people are going back to their poor habits. Because I want you to think about dieting. The reason why diets fail people is because it's kind of like a quarantine. The first couple of weeks of quarantine might seem, oh, you know, it's not bad. It's kind of cool, this or that. But come April now, the quarantine is not cool to anyone. No one wants to be quarantined. No one wants to be told what to do. A diet works the same way. It's exciting for a first couple of weeks. Then life pushes back. You regain everything you lost, and then you're frustrated again. You have to get to the point where your reason matters. And if you have an existing health condition, this is what I'd recommend. Number one, I would definitely have gloves on. I definitely wear a mask. I'd be very cautious if you're not in great shape right now going out into the world. If you do go in the world, take the right measures. But at the same time, when you're home, fight for your health. Start focusing on what you can do to get your body where it needs to be. So when the next virus comes, because there will be another virus, your body's ready, you're prepared, and whatever's thrown at it, you can counter it. Now, what I also do is I take Airborne and I take Zicam. So I'm loading up on zinc because there's a lot of research behind zinc. So I take Zicam, I take 4 a day, and I'm also doing 3 Airborne a day. And I'm also doing 4 Reserve a day. And I'm plus, obviously, I'm taking my Zen products, my AM, PM. So I'm really dialed in on my body right now.
Nah, I got my green Zen here.
I love it.
I got my Fuse, I got my Nara, Revita Blue, and some blueberry all in one. Is that PFC? Is that okay?
That's perfect. And all you have to do is, for tonight, if you really want to learn about Zen, join our Zen Project Day community. I'm doing at least 10 to 12 Zooms or Facebook Lives a week right now. So there's plenty of resources for you to learn about the program, dive into the program, learn about the product. Every Wednesday night, I do at least 6 Zooms, but we do a Facebook Live in our Zen Project Global group every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So we don't have to dive into all that tonight. The key is, if you want to learn, if you want to take your body to another level, if you're seeing how can I do that, I want you to know there's support with you every step of the way.
Great. So, well, let's shift gears. Let's talk about our final topic about success. Let's start with Mark. How do you define success for you? Because it's relative, right? Because everybody, like money is a certain measure for some people. There's all kinds of measures, how much things you have maybe, but how do you define it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a great mentor in 1999, right when I bought Venice. And I was a chaser at that time. I was fighting, I was chasing. And he said, Mark, success is, I asked him the question, so what's successful? And he said, you define your own terms of success. And that would be what I'd invite everyone. I go back to what matters most to me. And I had a great lesson at that same time about values. So at that time, I was giving a lot with my heart. I probably wasn't charging what I should be charging as a coach. I was young, I was in my 20s, and I was working way too many hours. And I had a coach at the time, and Samson, this was Steven. And he said, okay, let's look at your values. And this would be what I invite everyone to do. And he said, okay, lay out what's most important to you. And I did what everyone said. I said, okay, my wife, Abby, was most important to me. And then I would put my family, and then I would put my health, and then I'd put my business. And they said, okay, let's reorganize that. He said, would you kill someone, barring an emergency, for your wife? And I said, of course not. So integrity became my number one value. He then said, okay, well, would you, if your wife, Abby, said that stop working out, stop eating healthy, would you do that, barring an emergency? I said, of course not. So health became number 2. And then the third one was, would you sacrifice your business for your wife, for your family? We didn't have kids at the time. I said, yes. Abby became number 3. And business became number 4. And then my mom, my dad became 5, because that's part of my business, was what was providing for my family. And he said, okay, so Mark, every single time that you choose to work late or undercharge people, you're putting your business over your wife. And immediately the next day I changed my priorities. So what is success to me? It's honoring my integrity. It's honoring my health. It's honoring my family. And I love business, but I know how to turn my mind off. That's why I walk around with my cell phone on silent. It's why people say, why don't you ever pick up the phone? Because I need to be present. Does that mean that maybe I'm not going to make as much money as I could? Of course it does. but I'm okay with that. So success to me is understanding, I call it the quadrant. I call it your health, your profession, your lifestyle, and your family. And you can't live in balance all the time, but I try to do the best that I can to work really hard when I'm in working mode, and then to be present with my family where I am. So that would be my invitation to you. Define what success is to do. What do you want to achieve? And really look at your values. And I know that as long as I'm honoring my integrity, I'm making my health a priority, and I'm honoring my family, I'm okay with whatever happens. And then I live my life that way. So for me, that's successful.
That's beautiful. So are you living it?
Huh?
Are you living it? Are you living it? Are you living
Yes,
it?
I'm living it. And so you got to ask yourself, when's it enough? And
Yeah.
when do you keep fighting? And when do you keep doing that? But you just have to be real to it. And obviously wisdom comes. I remember my greatest, I love the book Peaceful Warrior, and the movie Peaceful Warrior, if you don't want to read the book. And it's about, knowledge is knowing and wisdom is applied knowledge. So I used to know a lot, but I love applying the wisdom.
Wow. Well, I mean, you are such a doer. You are such a doer. Whatever you learn, you do right away. I mean,
well, I think I'm leading to make a difference for people. Hope. Yeah, maybe because I've always was an underdog growing up. I fight for people. And every step in my life makes me want to fight more. And that's why I love Zen, and what we've done is seeing how we can transform people's life. How people who there's a great story about someone posted in the community that he was on a job site. He's a construction worker. And one of the contractors went up to him and said, to his boss, and said, well, why didn't you use the same AC guy that you did last year? He said, I did. He said, what? The guy lost 55 pounds, so no one recognized him, but he was the same guy. That's life-changing. So if we can together inspire people to change their lives, and that's what I love, Samson, you inspire me so much, because what you, Yvonne, Kim, everyone has done has been incredible.
Well, we all try our best. And try to live our passion, try to live, I guess, try to live that, the gift that's been given to us in a way, and try to live it, because it is like a gift. It's like a dream, what we're doing. At the same time, it was all timing and everything. And it's so amazing to have you along for the journey. You're one of the people. I mean, if people never, some of the people out there today, they have never seen you face to face, like close up. Okay, maybe they've seen you on video. Some of them have, but some of them have not, because you're not there yet. But I would say that when I first met you in Berlin, and we had that breakfast, and we kind of hung out a little bit, at that event, and I was just amazed that you always, when somebody asks for a picture, you always take the picture. When somebody starts talking to you, you are there the whole time till the conversation finishes, right? And of course, your trademark, the hug and the kiss. I call Mark the equal opportunity kisser. Be careful. Okay, and hugger, okay? So, but and you know what though? It's not even about the money. It's about the heart that comes out, and you grab the people and hug them. I was very impressed. Now, and
it's the love of people, Samson, and you have the same thing. And I think everyone watching, my invitation to you would be this: try to go with your phone on silent for a week. Every time someone comes up to you, don't just put your phone away, turn it over, and be present with them. And you'll see things change. Being an entrepreneur, we're rewarded for sometimes hustling. There's always times to hustle. But when you're present, when people, and I feel that because, when we do photos at an event, and some people might wait for an hour for a photo. To me, it's like when I used to do my book signings. I'm not just going to sign my name. I want to write something, because if you wait for an hour for something, you deserve to be loved on, deserve to be hugged and shown that. And that's, so for me, when I'm at an event, if I'm all in, I'm going to give everything I have to the point I have nothing left to give. And that's why when I come home, I need to recover for a few days. And that would be my invitation to everyone watching. If there's one thing you take away, give everything you can when you're on. When you're with people, when you're there, give everything. And then recover and then do it again. If you can do that, your life will change, but more importantly, you will change people's lives.
Folks, I hope you heard that. That is the way. Actually, I would tell you that's the way all of us who have made it in Jeunesse, that's actually what we do. Because for the time, like Mark expressed, that all the time, the time that we spend there, the hours of flying, the hotel, the traffic, and then meeting people, people after people after people after people. We go there to make an impact. That's the whole key. And we want to make a maximum impact. So we got to go all out. I'm not on like that all the time like you, but I remember the time, for example, many of them know how I built Malaysia, and we just did like hour after hour after hour for 2 weeks like that to start the business. And then after that, it was just, after, how much energy it takes to speak on stage, right? The mindset, the PowerPoint you need to create, then you got to get on stage and you got to, leave nothing on stage, leave with nothing. You got to give everything and leave with nothing. And sometimes it gets so tired. I'm like, okay, let me just go back to the room right away. Like almost like drenched, right? And then I just need to hide for 15 minutes for a second. Okay, let me go back out and talk with the people again because they need me. Sometimes it's almost like that.
And that's what you have to do. You have to sometimes recover for that moment so that you can be. And I guess that's probably our best lesson, Samson. And that's probably if you're tired, then hide for a moment. But when you're with people, you got to be on. And that's where you have to decide how you manage your energy. And if you can learn how to manage that energy and be real with people consistently, not just on stage. I went to an auto store today, and there was a guy behind the front desk, and he was looking at his computer, and he didn't say hi to me for a minute. And I'm thinking about everything when I'm at Publix, when I was at Costco today. I'm saying, hi, how you doing? We live in a world where we just people go through the motions. So you got to ask yourself, what type of person are you going to be? So be exceptional, be extraordinary every single time. Be who you want to be. And if the energy that you're giving or that other people are giving you don't like, then raise your level and be extraordinary. And if you do that, everyone around you, you're gonna inspire them to raise their game.
Every day every time I spend time to coach somebody, I get asked the question, I don't have enough belief. I don't have enough. How do I convince my friend? But what you said is one of the most important key. You got to raise your level. You got to be that exceptional person. And just with that, you can win them over by your presence. Isn't it like that? It's just that you got to be
100%.
present. You have the presence.
It's the quote that when I was in South Africa, and I went to Nelson Mandela's house that he went to, right? His original house. And right when after he got to prison, that's the house he was living in before he moved. And there's a quote there, and it's also in the movie Victus. And it says, true greatness is when you choose to exceed your own expectations of yourself. And that's the heart of an entrepreneur. You're going to have times when you doubt yourself. You're going to have times where you feel like you're not winning, that you're down, that you're losing. But you have to challenge yourself to exceed your own expectations. And when you do that, and you surround yourself with the right people, everything is attainable. But it all starts with you. It all starts with what you're giving off, what you're bringing to the table. And if you can do that, you can achieve everything you want.
That's a perfect example of how to end this webinar, because that is the point. I want everybody to leave here today. You got to bring it. You got to bring it. You got to raise it up. Thank you, Mark, for an amazing hour. I'm surprised it's
Samson, you are my brother. You and everyone just know this man has changed my life. We live in this world to change lives, and Samson Lee has changed my life. He's one of my greatest friends. He's truly one of my greatest mentors, and it's an honor that everyone joined tonight. I see many of you, my friends all around the world, and just know that whatever you need, whatever I can help you with, whether it's health, whether it's business, whether it's motivation, inspiration, you inspire me equally. I'm here to help you every step of the way.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing, Mark. We got to do this more often.
Yes, we got to start our entrepreneur series.
All right, we'll talk about that off the air. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody from around the world. It's been a pleasure. It's been an exciting hour. There's so many nuggets. I mean, we can write another book, Mark. If you don't mind me, I can go off with you. Okay.
We're gonna write a book together.
No, you're the draw. I'm the little guy. So, but I hope that everyone got something out of it. I'm sure you did, and applied that, because with the right mindset and the skill set, you can create your success. Hey, you know what? Let me tag that. Let me brand that one. Okay. But but it takes partnership, like Mark says. It takes mentors. It takes openness. It takes that 1% on a daily basis to climb that mountain. It's not really a mountain. The mountain is an illusion. It's actually flat, straight, and it's flat. You just need to walk the path 1% at a time. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you very much.
Love you. Thanks, everyone. Mwah.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Stay strong and stay healthy.
Thank you. Bye.
If you see something for yourself, get back to the person who shared this video with you. And don't forget to subscribe to the official USGS YouTube channel to receive future videos.